This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin on January 27th, 1991, as Wayne Shoup was driving through the peaceful countryside near his home in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. On this Sunday afternoon, Wayne had invited his friend Colleen Fry to join him for a ride in an antique carriage he had recently bought.
We have some beautiful trails and some beautiful roads in our area. It's away from traffic, aggravation. You get away from that when you're with horses.
Wayne had been training his horse Spider to pull a carriage for only a month. They turned off the highway onto a gravel road that led back toward Wayne's barn 4 miles away.
Spider was going along real fine. We were doing a nice road trot. What happened had nothing to do with Spider's attitude. It's a sight and flight animal, and they see everything as larger than life. We were coming to the edge of woods on my right-hand side. All of a sudden, there's a field and this bale of hay, and when I saw it, Spider started. So I'm assuming that he saw it basically at the same time I did. Spider! Whoa! Whoa! I thought the carriage was going to go over. I jumped out. The electric fence was there. When he hit the fence, he out and out spooked. And when a horse spooks, they run. When he touched the fence again, that frightened him further. He must have gone through the fence 3 different times. Every time Spider went into the fence, he got even more out of control. Wayne was half out of the carriage. I was scared to death. I figured sooner or later he was going to fall. I heard the initial crash of them going through the woods, then I heard nothing.
When we continue.
No. All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat. Wait. Oh my God. Wait, no. Oh no. Easy, Spider. All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat. Oh my God! Wait. I just ripped them off so he could breathe. Oh my God! Don't move! The foot was caught, but I could not get it out. He could not get air. He was having a very difficult time breathing. I also knew I could not unharness the horse myself in the state that the horse was in. And it was just a matter of time before Spider bolted, continued through this wooded area, and dragged Wayne to death.
David Cease and his family were out for a Sunday drive on a route they rarely ever traveled.
I thought perhaps that there was some kind of a gun accident or somebody with a gun after her.
What's wrong?
Help me.
What's wrong?
My partner's drowned and he can't get out.
Your partner what?
There's a lot of hunters in those woods. So I was cautious because I had my family with me in the car.
He's in here.
When I first saw him, I thought that he was dead. He was gone. The scene was a mess.
What do you want me to do?
Hurry!
Let me get your arms.
He was just pleading for help that instant.
Easy, boy. Easy, boy. That's it. That's it, Spider. Easy.
And go back a little bit more. All right, I got him for you.
Some way we had to get this carriage off the top of this guy.
Yeah, move forward more.
She got the horse moving somehow, and I tried to lift the wheel as much as I could. I could see that he was in extreme pain, resting on his forearms, because he said it felt better.
Girl, easy, easy, girl. Easy.
All right, buddy, just stay still, stay still. Why don't you move your, you're gonna hurt yourself.
So I'm very cold, and I covered him up the best that I could.
Stay still.
I could see that the back of his head was ripped apart pretty bad.
Worried about her husband, Debbie Cease drove down the road to see what was happening.
Yeah, Jeff, go get an ambulance.
She found a phone at the nearest house a mile down the road and called for help.
Control Center to Bushkill Township Fire and Ambulance personnel respond. Horse-drawn carriage overturned, man pinned underneath.
Members of the Bushkill Township Volunteer Fire Company were paged, along with local police and medic units.
I want no sirens to be used in case the horse is still attached to that carriage.
First to arrive was EMT Richard Tobias, who happened to be on vacation in the area.
When I got down to the bottom, he was hunched over, but I didn't want to move him at all. I just wanted to leave him where he was until we could better ascertain what was wrong with him.
Can you tell me what day it is?
He was bleeding pretty badly from his head down to his waist that I could see.
All right.
Easy. Easy.
That's it.
The horse was getting pretty upset because a lot of people were coming and they were starting to shout. So I went back, slapped the horse on the side, and told it to go and pointed where I wanted it to go, and it just took off.
Within 10 minutes, an ambulance got to the scene.
Shoulder bothers you, your leg bothers you, your chest hurts, right?
I knew he took down several trees with his body because he was hanging out of the carriage when they hit the woods.
I had the Naira breather set up, 15 liters.
EMT Jennifer Werkheiser helped package him for transport.
In order to immobilize him, we put him on a backboard in a standing position. That's when we first saw the depression on his right chest.
Okay, John.
He was getting combative, and he was getting really anxious.
Get that thing out of here.
I'm just going to put it inside next to your face, okay?
A lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, he's fighting with us because he doesn't want us to help him. But usually that's a signal for some serious underlying injury.
Wayne Shoup suffered a collapsed lung, 3 broken ribs, a cracked sternum, dislocated shoulder, and a multiple fractured leg. 3 months later, he's still in physical therapy, but he refuses to let it stop him from doing what he loves to do.
When that horse was running down the road at about 30 miles an hour, and I was holding on to the shafts in the rain, and my legs were pinned under, and the other one was in the wheel, the only chance of survival that I felt was put him in the woods. Otherwise, I'm going to die.
Spider is still his favorite horse.
The happiest moment was when Wayne got out of his truck after he was out of the hospital and went back to the barn and said, hey, Spider, how you doing?
And accidents happen. I will definitely get back in a carriage with Spider driving down the road. I have no fear of that. People ride horses, fall off, they get back on again and ride. So both the good Lord was on my side that day, but everybody that came to my rescue worked as a super fine crew and gave me the best medical attention that they could. I have to say that they saved my life, and thank you.